Hey, it's the Empire. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon for more videos. We taking over. Let's go, champ. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button right now. Let's go. Hey, it's the Empire. Geoboxing Empire. Back to boxing. Now, man, my boy, Freddie Roach, man. The man who trained the legend, Manny Pacquiao, and made him the fighter who he is today. You know, Freddie Roach said that the game plan for ERROL SPENCE Jr. is he's going to treat ERROL SPENCE Jr. like Margarito and the same game plan. Now, in Freddie Roach's eyes, he sees ERROL SPENCE Jr. as a flat-footed fighter, right? You guys, I'll link the article in the description so you guys can read it. But he says he's basically a flat-footed fighter and that Pacquiao's going to have the same game plan fighting Antonio Margarito as in ERROL the Truth Spence Jr. Now, man, when Manny Pacquiao fought Antonio Margarito, it was a significant fight for Manny Pacquiao's career, and still to this day, because when he fought Antonio Margarito, he fought him at his highest weight class. And what's that weight class? It was 154 pounds, right? So that being said, Antonio Margarito was the biggest fighter he ever fought, not just in weight, but in size as well. He had a long reach, right? He was aggressive, and Antonio Margarito was extremely dangerous at the time. But if you know anything about boxing, if you're watching it back in when Margarito was in his heyday, we'll know that Antonio Margarito had a lot of problems with his hand wraps. And in a controversial win with Miguel Cotto, he was found to, there was suspicion allegedly that his hands were loaded, right? Because when he fought Shea Mosley ended up stopping Antonio Margarito, and because Hassim figured out his hands were being wrapped wrong and there was something wrong with the wraps. And as soon as they figured that out, they checked it, they rewrapped it, and Shea Mosley then fought Margarito, and Shea Mosley went to dominate and destroy Antonio Margarito. Ever since then, Margarito was never the same fighter. He never had any other big wins after that fight, after that loss with Shea Mosley, and after people started really paying attention to his hand wraps. So that being said, man, Antonio Margarito pre-Shea Mosley, his biggest win was Miguel Cotto, right? But after that, like I said, when he lost to Shea Mosley and people were cautious about his hand wraps, Miguel Cotto and Margarito fought again, and Cotto ended up beating Margarito. So, you know, there's a lot of speculation how good Margarito really was without his hand wraps. But that being said, man, ERROL SPENCE Jr. is a different kind of a fighter than Antonio Margarito. He has defense. He can work behind a jab. And there's note of that in Mikey Garcia ERROL SPENCE Jr. fight. You know, ERROL Spence decided to box Mikey, and Mikey couldn't get past ERROL Spence's jab. So there's things that ERROL Spence can do that he obviously showed in other matches that he could do against Pacquiao. Furthermore, the game plan that Pacquiao had with Margarito, I mean, he fought Margarito in 2010. That's over a decade ago. It's 11 years ago. So will Manny Pacquiao have the same level of athleticism that he did in 2010? I highly doubt it. Maybe he can do 70% of it, maybe 50% of it. But Pacquiao definitely slowed down, right? He was even getting caught against Keith one-time Thurman in a fight when they fought. Keith Thurman just started real slow. Pacquiao started very, very quickly and ended up dropping Keith one-time Thurman. Now, there's some things Pacquiao still can do well. He says he's going to start very quick, and I do think when Pacquiao's 100%, he will give ERROL SPENCE Jr. problems. Definitely, especially if he starts really quick. But, you know, as the fight progresses, you know, ERROL the Truth Spence will wear Pacquiao down with those body shots and his high ring IQ, because ERROL Spence Jr. has a height and reach advantage over Manny Pacquiao, and they're both southpaw. So there's not going to be some weird, you know, dynamic going on where it's an orthodox fighter versus a southpaw fighter, a right-hand fighter versus a left-hand fighter. They're both left-handed. So these angles that Pacquiao gives, those angles have an asterisk on them when you're orthodox and southpaw. But Pacquiao hasn't fought southpaw in a very, very long time, and this is going to be definitely a game changer for this fight as far as the angles go, and you know who can hit who first, because at the end of the day, Rich is going to play a big part of this fight and in ring generalship. But that being said, man, yeah, man, comparing Margarito to Errol Spence Jr., they're like night and day, man. Errol Spence Jr. is known for completely different things than Margarito. Errol Spence Jr. is smart. He boxes, right? He breaks you down with body shots. It's much more systematic approach with Errol Spence Jr. With Margarito, he just came forward and he'll take 3 to give 1. That was Margarito's style, you know, the typical Mexican come forward, you know, warrior rah-rah style, right? Errol Spence does not fight like that. He's a completely different fighter. He's much more sophisticated in his approach, right? His boxing IQ is definitely on another level, right? It's something that's really subtle, but it's really advanced, you know? It will have you saying that, you know, as Mikey Garcia would say, I see something in Errol Spence Jr., but when you get in the ring with him, there's a lot of fight nuances that Errol Spence Jr. does that you just can't see in the ring. You can't see in the footage, at least. But when you're in the ring with him, it becomes where Errol Spence Jr., as Mikey Garcia would say, is always 2 steps ahead of me. So, you know, we're going to see how this whole thing plays out with Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence Jr., but, you know, I think this is going to be definitely a style matchup for the ages. You know, the speed of Manny Pacquiao and the power of Errol Spence Jr. and possibly the ring IQ. We're gonna see how his boxing ability holds up with Manny Pacquiao's. I'm still shocked how great Manny Pacquiao's jab looked against Keith One-Time Thurman when they're fighting. You know, will Pacquiao still use, because it wasn't like he was standing up straight and throwing a jab. He's using head movement and throwing a jab with it, and that really stopped Keith Thurman's basically offense. So we're gonna see if, you know, Pacquiao can still do the same thing with Errol Spence Jr. This is gonna be this is a legacy fight for Errol Spence. Can you say for Manny Pacquiao? Well, Manny Pacquiao was saying things like, if I beat Errol Spence Jr., I'm better than Floyd Mayweather. That's what Manny Pacquiao is saying. So this is a legacy fight for both these fighters, right? So we're gonna see how this whole thing plays out, man. I'm really excited to see this fight. Me personally, I think it's gonna be a dangerous fight early for Errol Spence Jr., but as the fight goes on and on, I think Errol Spence will have a better chance of winning. He just can't let Pacquiao surprise him with the speed. But everyone's shocked by Manny Pacquiao's speed in the beginning, right? If you look at, you know, Pacquiao, he's always dropped guys really early in his fights, especially recently, to really establish the respectability. Because a lot of people think Pacquiao don't hit hard until they get dropped by Pacquiao, you know? So we're going to see how this whole thing plays out, man, with Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence Jr. But yeah, man, I don't agree with Freddie Roach about he's going to treat him like Margarito, because those fighters are just, the styles are just so dynamically different. It's shocking, you know. And if he comes in with that game plan thinking he's going to be a Margarito, a come forward, you know, stationary fighter who just throws punches, you know, it's going to be a long night for Pacquiao, to say the least. But anyway, man, let me know you guys feel about it, though. Like, comment, subscribe. This is the Empire. Geoboxing Empire. Peace.